Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about temporal forces, and I'm going to talk about why I think it's going to be a good investment and potentially even a great investment. Now, we are going to mainly look at the cards, but I just wanted to point out temporal forces is bringing back ace spec cards. If you play the TCG, you probably already know about this, and that's probably something cool to you. If you're an investor or a collector, this may not be important to you, but it's important to just point it out. Now, when we go into looking at the cards, we'll start with the IRs. Again, I'm not going to look it up commons, uncommons, all that. When we look at the IRs, there are some really good cards in here that I like. You know, you have the Litten, Deerling, Sawbuck, Extra Drill, Relicanth, Charjabug, and obviously we have the Shiftry up here. I do think the Shiftry is going to be a sleeper card in this set. I think it could do something fairly similar to what Magikarp is doing in Paldea Evolved. Obviously, Magikarp is a much more popular card than Shiftry, so I don't think it's going to do as well as the Magikarp. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Shiftry is a $20 to $40 card in the long run. These are all just great cards. I mean, I can see tons of these being in that $5 to $10 range, and obviously the Shiftry being more than that. Now, we can go down a bit further here. We have a lot of other interesting cards. You know, some people talk about the Drampa. I'm not a huge fan, but fair enough. Metagross, kind of weird with snowballs and whatever, but I mean, it's cute artwork, understandable. You know, Arbok, I think the other IR that could do well outside the Shiftry is going to be this Ghastly here with Gengar giving him a Rim Chop in the back and a random little Meowth there in the corner. So yeah, I think the Ghastly and the Shiftry will be the best. But I mean, again, Arbok, Metagross, even the Drampa, Extra Drill, Relicanth, Deerling, Sawbuck, Snom, Litten. Like these are all cards, Charjabug. These are all cards that could be in that 5 to 10. Some of them maybe even pushing $15 range. Again, they're not the fan favorite Pokemon. You don't have a Ho, you don't have a Pikachu, you don't have a Giratina, an Umbreon, etc. But you know, Shiftry's a great artwork, very cool card. Again, you have the Deerling, the Sawbuck that go together. Litten. So I mean, again, guys, just think a lot of these cards are going to be in that $5 to $10 range. The artwork's amazing. Ghastly, Arbok, obviously. Moving on. The full arts really don't do too much for me in this set. Gengar obviously will hold a bit of value down here just because people like Gengar. The Scyther's kind of cool. It really bums me that we didn't get a alternate art Scyther, but whatever. The ancient and future full arts just do nothing for me, and you know the other ones too. It's nothing special. So I think the Gengar, potentially the Scyther, but outside of that, full arts aren't going to carry too much value. Full art supporters, again, you're not going to have huge money here, but you know, you obviously have Bianca. Airy will carry a little bit of value as well. But what really makes this set special is the SAR Pokemon and SAR trainers. If I did have to rate these from worst to best, I do think Gouging Fire will do the worst out of these cards. I really don't like this card. It does nothing for me. The second worst, obviously, is probably Iron Boulder or Walking Wake for me. And in terms of which one I think will do worse, I do think Iron Boulder will do worse. Potentially, Iron Boulder could do the worst out of all of them. In terms of price, but for me, yeah, Iron Boulder, then Walking Wake maybe, and then you know you have the two futures, Iron Leaves, Iron Crown, and then my favorite card in this out of the SR Pokemon is obviously the Raging Bolt here on the far right. Some people really don't like what they did to Raikou. Made his neck super long, said they basically destroyed the Pokemon. Guys, it's a different Pokemon. And if you're going for an ancient Pokemon here, I mean, this is just a beautiful artwork. It really gives me Land Before Time vibes with the massive rocks in the background, and then you know the foliage and the few trees, and you know a large open space with a massive Pokemon in there. Then obviously in the sky you have the thunder and lightning. It's just it to me the artwork is just perfect, and it illustrates what the card is, what the Pokemon is. So I do think Raging Bolt probably could be the chase card in the set for a lot of people, and if not the most expensive card. Now, I do think there will be a few challengers for that, and it will depend on pull rates as well. Obviously, one of them could be this SIR Bianca down here, taking a little nap on the sofa. This will be probably the most expensive SIR trainer. The Gengar, and it really depends how much people love Gengar, because you have Morty's Conviction down here with the Gengar. Airy is going to do well also. I mean, it's an awesome card with Pokemon in the background. And guys, this really is the meat and potatoes of this set are the SIRs. And then when we talk about, obviously I have a few promos down here. The golds are negligible. I'm not going to talk about them. The golds don't do anything for me. But when I look at this set, you have no massive chase card. Fair enough. But you have the Shiftry, okay? You have the Ghastly. You have in the SIRs, and then even some of these full art train, Bianca could potentially push $20, and I'm just quoting cards here that I think will push 20. Shiftry, Ghastly, potentially Bianca here. Raging Bolt obviously is going to be over $20. Iron Leaves, Iron Crown, I think could push it as well. Walking Wake, it wouldn't surprise me if that was more than $20. And even Gouging Fire and potentially Iron Bolt. Now I think Gouging Fire is a better chance to be over $20 than Iron Bolt. Iron Boulder, which I think could be, $10 to $15, potentially even less. Who knows? But again, that's what, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, potentially 8 or 9 cards. And then when we come down here, this Alt Art Morty's Conviction 10, Airy obviously 11, and Bianca, which I think could potentially be the most expensive card in the set, and challenge Raging Bull. I could be wrong on that. Who knows? So 11, 12 cards potentially over $20. I mean, there's lots of depth to this set, and who knows? Like the Raging Bull could potentially push $100. But even if it doesn't, I really think that, and I've said this multiple times, I think Temporal Forces could follow a path fairly similar to Astral Radiance. You're going to have a set with a lot of depth, a lot of amazing underrated full art and IR/SIR cards that people don't appreciate because it's not the Gengar, it's not the Pikachu, it's not the Umbreon, but amazing cards nonetheless. Also, I know some people are talking about it being short printed, yada yada yada. To me, again, that's not a huge deal, but Astral Radiance didn't get a massive reprint like Silver Tempest and Lost Origin did. If that happens to Temporal Forces where we don't see it reprinted into Oblivion, again, who knows what's going to happen. But just in terms of cards, not having a massive chase, but having a fair amount of depth, I do see Temporal Forces following a similar path to that. And again, I think Astral Radiance is going to be $160, $170 box by the end of the year. Once it sells out on the Pokemon Center, I am assuming that's going to happen this year. But I can definitely see that happening with Temporal Forces in 3-4 years down the line, being 170, 180, pushing, and eventually pushing to $300 a box. Guys, people are sleeping on Scarlet and Violet. I'm basically, my whole plan for the rest of 2024 is to look at Scarlet and Violet now very closely and kind of just put Sword and Shield on the back burner. I have all my positions in Sword and Shield. And I think if you're still trying to get boxes, fair enough. I did actually just buy a case of Silver Tempest. I won an auction on eBay. That's why I got it. I got a decent price. Might make a video on that in the future. But moving forward, I am looking pretty much fully at Scarlet and Violet, and I love the sets. And guys, people talk about Scarlet and Violet not being as good as Sword and Shield. This is set, 4 or 5 of Scarlet and Violet. Let's just look at some of the early sets of Sword and Shield. Rebel Clash. The best card is Boss's Order. You have Sonya, and then you have Rainbow, Boss's Order. The best Pokemon card in the set, and best in terms of price. Full Art Ninetales at $16, $15.99. This set sucks. Okay, everyone knows Rebel Clash sucks, but Battle Styles, same thing. You have the Sleeping Tyranitar, and surprisingly, the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX is $50. But if you don't like Urshifu and outside the Tyranitar, this set is really meh too. I mean, when you go down, you have gold cards, you have rainbows. I really don't like rainbows. Mimikyu, yeah, sure, you have a few full arts, cool. Nothing super special. Darkness Ablaze. Now, Darkness Ablaze is a $150 booster box, guys. $150. Top card in Darkness Ablaze, Charizard VMAX, $25. Less than $25. Second best card is a Rainbow Salamence VMAX, under $9. Butterfree Rainbow is the third best card in the set, $8. But this box is $150. Vivid Voltage, obviously you have the Rainbow Chonkachu. Outside of that, not a ton of depth to this set. You have some trainer cards. Fair enough, whatever. Rainbows. Again, nothing special in this set. Vivid Voltage, what's it at now? $135, right? So when you look at a set like Temporal Forces, it's undeniable that the set Temporal Forces has way more depth, much nicer cards and potentially, even better chase cards than a lot of these sets. Like I would put the Bianca Waifu, you're going to have the Raging Bolt. These cards are all better than any of these chase cards and in any of these sets, even the Chonkachu. I would wager that Raging Bolt is a better chase card than the Rainbow Chonkachu. Now, for some people are gonna contest that. Vivid Voltage came out at the height of COVID when everyone was getting into Pokemon. Fair enough, whatever, historically. But when it comes from an artwork perspective, you gotta appreciate these cards. There's so much depth, better than all these sets. And my point is that if sets like Darkness Ablaze is pushing 150 and Vivid Voltage, was pushing 140 at one point and is already heading back towards that, we really can expect the same, if not better, from Temporal Forces in the long run. Again, we're gonna have to be sitting on this for a couple years, so I think there is time to get in. But guys, if you can get Temporal Forces at $80-$90 a box, this set is a friggin' steal. I don't care what anyone's saying on Reddit, talking about how there's no massive chase card and how they need to redo second gen, do something like 151, all the other sets are trash. Fuck these people, man. They have no idea what they're talking about. If you're picking this up for 90, 80, 90, $100 a box, you are gonna be absolutely laughing in 3 to 4 years. When you go to sell this, it might even be faster than that. Who knows? Again, people are talking about being short printed, so if it in theory is short printed, doesn't get reprinted, you're gonna be laughing even earlier. With that said, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you made it this far, if you could like the video and subscribe. I'm just starting out the channel. There's going to be a ton more content coming, especially when I get back to Canada at the start of May. I'm going to be filming a lot of content based around things that I actually have, so you will see a lot of my inventory. I think people find that interesting, or they don't believe I own anything. Fair enough. I'll be making content on that in the future. With that said, thanks for watching, guys. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.